DJ Durkin gets paid. Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast. Yes, sir. Good evening, Auburn family. Good evening, Uptempo gang. Our boy Auburn defensive coordinator DJ Durkin receives a massive extension from Auburn, locking him in for the next couple of years. It's a pretty big pay raise bump as well, Blake. I saw your tweet when it was announced, and I agree with you 100%. You said earned, not given, huh?
100%. What DJ Durkin has done at Auburn, especially, let's just start with this past season, Dustin. I mean, in that Cal game, we clearly saw that Keontae Scott wasn't the answer. And it got fixed quickly. Things progressed quickly. That secondary, I said, hey, we might be in trouble this year. Now, I know getting off the field on third down and all of that, let DJ get his guys in there, and maybe that will pick up a little bit. But we were very young, right? DJ said, hey, I'm going to go with youth. We're going to grow this thing. We're going to start at the bottom and grow it to the top. I choose youth and the guys that I bring in here. My pipeline that I'm using now, and you can see in recruiting from Maryland and all of that. I mean, he's going down into Florida and getting guys. I mean, he's branching out all over. And he's bringing elite talent into Auburn. And he's choosing to put young guys on the field. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. He doesn't care about if you've been here for 3 years and you're a returning starter. Best man plays. And that's DJ Durkin, man. That is what he goes by. And I have seen him recruit up close and in person. And he gets after it. He don't take a break. I can tell you that. I was at Cottage Hill, and I saw him all night long. He never took a break.
After a pretty big fish too, huh, Blake?
Pretty big fish, and one that ain't even committed to Auburn. All right, so I've been there. I've seen him just continue to, hey, go to the parents, man. Go to the kid. There wasn't no getting on the cell phone with DJ and him stepping away and taking a call. No, it was full interaction. And that's a guy I know that is locked in on his job. He's locked in 100%. And what he did with the defense this year to put that youth on the field, Dustin, and to see the growth that quickly, that is why I said earned, not given. And I got another point I want to make about the earned, not given, because I think it's pretty substantial for Auburn to keep him, especially with how kind of things worked out and what we heard with the team that was after him. So the job that DJ has done in the short amount of time that he's been at Auburn, I'm not worried about the defense in 2025. We were just talking about it before we hit record. It might not be top 5, top 10 in the country, but it's going to be good enough for us to win football games. We're okay on the defensive side. We know DJ and them boys are going to bring it. Are there some areas where we might lack a little depth and we might be thin and there's some questions? Yes, but there was questions last year, and boy, that defense had us in every game. I mean, the Oklahoma game, that wasn't on the defense. You threw a pick 6 to lose that one. It's just, we were there last year. We were in contention to win a lot of games because of that defense. And boy, a lot of those guys are coming back. So I'm glad Auburn kept this man around, Dustin, because it was a must. If we would have lost DJ, we'd have had to there would have been some conversations. If we would have lost DJ, there would have this thing would have been shambles, man. And I'm not saying Hugh would have gotten fired or anything. Don't take it like that. But for you to lose your defensive coordinator, your guy that has been the glue guy of this staff, because you've had a disaster at offensive coordinator. Let's just be honest. It was Philip Montgomery, and then it was Derek Nix, and then you hadn't known who's calling plays. You got a third down guy and all this stuff. All right. Well, the one strong spot, if DJ would have left, man, how would people have viewed Auburn? It would have been a disaster.
After losing Charles Kelly, your co-DC.
There you go. And then you would have had to scramble and plug in another coordinator, man. And you've already had to go the route on offense, and you don't want to do it on defense. So this was massive for Hugh Freeze and Auburn. And I'll talk about it in just a minute why I think it was that big.
Yeah, it was Ohio State, right? Ohio State that was trying to poach him. Yes, because their DC goes over to Penn State. Big move by Penn State, man. Out there playing chess in the Big Ten. That's exciting stuff. So then Ohio State tries to get him. And look, I mean, my brain goes right to recruiting, and I'm like, oh well, we got to keep this new Baltimore pipeline intact that he's built, right? We got more guys from that class that are from that area that we're trying to bring in this 2026 class, and all of a sudden, this area of the country that has never opened up for Auburn is open before. And like you said, I like the guys. He goes out there and with the help of Hugh, but going out there and getting rocked to replace the D-line coach, or to bring him in to coach edges. And after you lose Aldridge to ECU, and that's a great hire, going and getting a guy with South Florida ties. And, it sucks. We all think very highly of Charles Kelly, but he earned that Jacksonville State job, and I'm going to be pulling for him in the Gamecocks this year. I hope they succeed. But the thing is I think that it's one of the things where it's like DJ did such a good job that although I hold Charles Kelly in such a high regard, I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm happy for him, and I think we'll be okay. Like you said, any adversity this defense faced last year, the staff was ready for it, man. They were ready to handle it, whether it was our guy Champ Anthony going out versus Arkansas. It gets to the point to where you're like, all right, well, we know Crawford's is a beast. He's an elite high school prospect, but is he ready to come out here? Is he ready to be thrust into action because of injury into the heart? Like, it's not like Crawford was started day one and got to work into it like some of the other true freshmen did throughout the season. He got thrown in the heat of the SEC schedule. Like, hey, buddy, we need you to play outside corner, and we're kind of running out of bodies here, so you can't really come off the field. I mean, he was playing almost every snap, some of those games. That outside corner in the SEC, that's tough, man. And when you look at the contrast of the offense and the defense, you see issues on offense that existed. I won't say game one. Game one was perfect, but game 2 to game 12, and they didn't get fixed. And they got to the point where they didn't make any sense. It's like, how are we still making that mistake on offense? With defense, there was never any excuses. When you saw DJ step up to the mic when he would have to do a media scrum or whatever, there was never any excuses. Oh, well, this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 and this led to this, and we got it. It was just no. It's very cut and dry. This is what's expected of us. We've got to do better in this situation. We're going to get it figured out. And you saw early in the season miscommunication issues, specifically in the back end with the secondary. And it kind of makes sense when you look at the majority of those guys were freshmen or sophomores. And then you saw it as the season went on. You saw those issues get resolved. And you just look at guys on we'll start up front. We'll go through all 3 levels. Look at the development of Malik Blockton from game 1 to game 12. He got better. Even a guy we already knew that was good in Keldrick Falk. Keldrick Falk got better from game 1 to game 12 of his sophomore year under DJ Durkin. Then let's look at defense. Demarcus Reddick. Game 1 to game 12. Got better. Okay. So there's 2 guys right there from the class, and Blockton and Reddick that were big time gets. They got to hit. You're like, we can't miss on these guys. All right. They both develop. You see them get better throughout the season. Then you go to the back end. Crawford, Harris. We can go on for days with the young corners that all got better. So it's like I can look at the front, work my way all the way to the back on this defense, and everyone's getting better. The issues that existed, and it's never going to be perfect, but the issues that existed at the beginning of the season were resolved and got better. I saw several times, man, throughout the season where this defense adjusted in the game. Okay, first quarter, second quarter, the opposing offense is getting us here, but we've got a game plan. Versus on the offensive side of the football, it feels like if they're on to us, we're in trouble. Like if we can't do what we got to do, we're probably screwed here. But on defense, they seem to kind of be able to adjust in game when the lights come on. They're ready to go. They got a plan. And so I did that member pod about a month ago, just kind of explaining the difference right now on both sides of the ball. From what we're hearing, the intel that me and you are receiving, as far as just the way that the everything kind of behind the scenes is run. And that's I'll end with this point, Blake, is that this is because not only is it because of what you saw on the field, but this extension is also because of what was seen off the field by everybody around the program. His salary got doubled. I'll read the numbers real quick. DJ was at 1.2. Let's see. This is according to CBS.com. Yeah, it was at 1.2. He is now at 2.5. It goes up 200,000 every year, so it'll be right under 8 million for 3 years. That puts him in the top 4 highest paid assistants in college football. That's because the staff, that's because the administrators, that's because everybody involved saw DJ on Monday. They saw him on Tuesday. They saw him on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And then when the lights came on, he can also perform on Saturday. Like, that's what this is. And Auburn, listen, we're not letting the national champions in Ohio State come in here and steal our guy. We're going to drop the bag. And whether it be players or assistant coaches right now, it is not for lack of money being spent and effort from the money guys at Auburn that we're not winning games. They're dropping bags. So, look, DJ earned it. And here's the one thing I see in the comments. Look, we know Auburn had the youngest defense in the SEC last year, one of the youngest defenses in the country, top 3, I believe. 31st in total defense, 31st in red zone defense, 28th in scoring defense, 27th in rushing defense. I said all those numbers are impressive when you consider the youth, but they're also impressive when you consider how shitty the offense was and how they had to cover for the offense. I think the Missouri game, the Vandy game, where the defense was just like, "I'm holding on for you, dude. I'm holding on for you. Can you score a touchdown for us?"
Yeah.
And they couldn't, right? The one thing here is the 75th in the country on third down conversions. And I'm hoping this year that with the addition of more edge rushers, going to be able to bring the pressure more. That's kind of the one thing we're looking at in Center Island. We got to get off the field on 3rd and 17, 3rd and 8. Other than that, man, DJ earned this. I think we both gave him a B+ on our final report card. So I love DJ, bro.
So I think the biggest reason why this happened is, yes, performance had a lot to do with it. I think the biggest reason why this happened, and y'all stay with me here, and this isn't a knock against you. I think Ohio State said, hey, DJ Durkin, he's that guy. He's familiar with the conference. He did the thing at Auburn. We saw how successful he was with that defense. We lost our defense. Jim Knowles goes to Penn State. Jim Knowles was making $2 million a year at Ohio State. I think it was 2.2. DJ was making $1 million less at Auburn. So I think Ohio State come a knocking and said, hey, we can pay you $2 million and you come to Ohio State. And I think Auburn University said, not going to let that happen. I'm sorry. We can't let that happen. Because if things go south this year with Hugh, I think you got your guy where you don't have to go very far on a coaching search. And you say, whatever we got to pay him, let's get it done. Let's wrap this up. And if things go south with Hugh, we can cut ties with Hugh and bang. We don't have to make this, media search and nobody wants to take the Auburn job and all of this stuff. The clown stuff that we went through a couple years ago. And so you just slide Durkin in there. You pay him his money as DC. And bang, you got it there. So then you give him the head coaching job. and you give him this, big raise as DC to keep him here and not going to Ohio State. And to me, that speaks volumes about how much he loves Auburn to turn down Ohio State, the national champions. He turned them down. He said, no thanks. And to me, that means he's locked in at Auburn. Like, he wants to be at Auburn. Now, is that his DC or is it his head coach? But I just have a feeling that if things don't work out with Hugh, man, Dustin, Auburn doesn't want to go down this rabbit hole again, and where they just have all this media on them, and it's, oh, here goes Auburn again. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to keep going back down that route. And people, you know how the media does it. They're going to make fun of Auburn. Well, that's just a place you go. Do you coach 3 years and then you get fired? It's like that every time Auburn looks for a coach, man. Every single time, it's some story comes out about how Auburn can't get it right, and you know what they're going to do, man. They're going to put Alabama here, and they're going to try to put Auburn here. That's how it's always going to be. So you keep your guy in your back pocket, and he's done a great job as DC, and that's why I think, you see the 2.5. They had to go higher than Ohio State, and we know Ohio State had the bag. They were ready to spend it. And Auburn said, hold up, we've got a bag too, so let's throw it and keep him here. It's a massive keep, in my opinion. Like, this plays for Auburn, man, not only just this year, but for years to come. And guess what? If it works out with Hugh and DJ has another great year and a head coaching job comes up and he takes it, hey, man, that's awesome. Go do your thing. Love it. But if things go south, here we go. Like, I would be perfectly okay with DJ being the next head coach. And let me tell y'all something about this. Everybody wants to bring up DJ Durkin's past and everything that happened at Maryland. Awful. What happened was a tragedy, right? It was just terrible. But Ohio State, they come after DJ Durkin. So if Ohio State will come after DJ Durkin, anybody will come after DJ Durkin. That's where I stand on it. So a lot of these people who, you still want to be mad that Auburn hired DJ, because you still see it out there on Twitter sometimes. And I mean, it's like Auburn can't get off the field on third down, and you'll see a tweet. I don't know why we ever hired that guy. All the off the field trouble. And it's just, look, Ohio State wanted him. They're the best team in college football.
Yeah, because he didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
yeah, it's just, it's like, it's to me, man, it's just like, people always try to make something more than what it's got to be. And it happened. It's over. It was awful, whatever. Auburn gave him a chance. He took the chance. He's done wonders with it, right? I'm tired of hearing all that.
Yeah, I mean, A&M gave him a chance before Auburn did.
Exactly. It's like all these schools come a knocking, man.
Yeah.
So let that go. Let all that stuff go. DJ does his job, and he does it at a high level, man. And I'm extremely proud that he is staying at Auburn. I think he's the guy, man. I think he's one of the best in the country, and I don't want anybody else leading my defense, especially the way he's recruiting. Yeah, I go back to that Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game that I went to at South Alabama. I look at these studs and I'm like, bro, like, I know Hugh gets all the credit on the recruiting trail, and he's a great recruiter, don't get me wrong. But the studs that DJ is bringing in, that Jared Smith, insane, Dustin. Like, these cats are insane.
Heard Jordan Crawford and Elijah Mendez are doing their thing at these off-season workouts.
What I tell you, about Jordan Crawford?
Yeah, I mean,
Let me tell you something. I ain't seen somebody dominate a state championship game like Jordan Crawford in a long, long time. And he did it against Saraland. So don't come at me and say, "Oh, he did it in 3A ball or 4A ball." He did it against the University of Saraland. And if you're not familiar with that, down here in Mobile, that's what they're called because they beat everybody by 50 every Friday night. Uh, and he did it against them. And their whole roster is going to play college football. So, dog. And these cats are elite early, man. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of puppies on the field once again for Auburn, but they're going to be elite puppies.
yeah.
They're going to grow into dogs.
Yeah, no, and I trust them to develop them, and I trust them to scheme them up and put them in the right position. And I think that when we look back at Auburn's games versus Texas A&M when DJ Durkin was at Texas A&M, and you think about how hard it was for Auburn to run the ball, how we just got dominated in the trenches, and I say, okay, well, going into last year, D line was like my biggest concern.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that he did a good enough job, and so did Coach Williams, and they coached the boys up and everything. But I still think he didn't have a lot of weapons to work with. Like I think he made more of them, than what he had.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see, like, because this D line class is just stupid. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I could see Malik getting significant time. I know Jordan's going to get significant time. It
Yeah.
could be special, man. Don't sleep on Antonio Coleman right out there in your backyard. So,
Yep.
these guys are really, really talented. Jared Smith, I can name them all, man. It's exciting.
Yeah.
And, it's exciting. I don't leave anybody out because they're all highly ranked top 300 players. I know he's going to develop them. And I didn't watch much of the Super Bowl, but I get the gist. The Kansas City Chiefs have lost 2 Super Bowls now. What happened in both times? I watched the first one. The defensive line worked their offensive line.
Yep.
And the Philadelphia Eagles just show the whole world that running the football and playing defense can still win you a championship at the highest level
Yep.
in the year 2025.
Facts.
So it's obviously very important. And on to this point, this one got kept Daniel's comment up here. I think that for Auburn, one, I think that everyone's really impressed with what they've seen from a day-to-day basis with DJ Durkin. Again, you hear that he's very organized, that he has all his ducks in a row, and that's important because Auburn's had some head coaches now that you couldn't say that about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could go down the list. So I'd probably get back to Tubbs before I found one that actually could conduct his business every day without some goofy shit going on. But when I look at DJ, it's like, all right, so you got everything tied up, everything's nice and tidy. You do everything right. Your players love you.
Mm-hmm.
You think back to that the pick versus Kentucky with Kay and Lee.
Mm-hmm.
All the players speak very highly of you. The parents of the players speak very highly of them. The offensive guys love him. The offensive guys look over there and say, hey, man, I wish we had some of that on our side of the ball.
Yep.
So I think, man, that the administration is looking, and I don't want to go down this negativity towards Hugh Freeze thing today, but we know what it is. We know what it is, right? Like
Yeah.
you are on the hot seat.
Gotta call it.
You got to call it, man. I mean, you've started off as an SEC head coach with 2 losing seasons. Even at Vanderbilt, even in Starkville, that will put you on the hot seat. It will always put you on the hot seat at Auburn. It never will not. The Floridas, the Auburns, the Tennessees, all LSUs. You start your tenure off with 2 losing seasons, you will never not be on the hot seat in year 3.
Yeah.
And so if I'm an administrator at Auburn, I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, Gus, and like to your point about how the media treats Auburn, Gus was our coach for 9 years. He was our OC for 3 years before that. And they still said, oh, my God, all crazy Auburn doesn't have it together over there. I can't believe they didn't give Gus any time. And I'm like, he called plays for us for over a decade. What do you mean we didn't give him any You mean we didn't give him any time? I know our plays. We line up and I know our plays. That's how we've been calling our plays. But that's the way the media treats us. I think that the way that this administration is looking at it is they're saying, man, Gus, Harsin, now Hugh, we keep trying to go in this direction of offensive-minded head coach. And it feels like we keep running into this problem where our head coach is halfway through the season. We're I kind of gave up the play calling duties, and I need to focus on. I mean, this is going on for multiple coaches now, and they're probably sitting there saying, "You know what? If this don't work, let's go with a defensive guy because that worked at Bama for a long time. Going all right over there in Athens, ain't it? Going pretty well." And I think from the head coach's perspective, maybe the defensive guy is natural. Maybe it's just more natural. This isn't a knock on offensive guys, but maybe it's just more natural for a defensive-minded head coach for his whole team to be tough. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got the Lincoln Riley situation. His teams are soft. He's a brilliant play caller. Brilliant play caller. What's the guy? Kingsbury. Try to be a coach for the Arizona Cardinals. But he goes back, gets his first OC gig in a little bit, and all of a sudden he takes the Commanders to the playoffs. And Jaden Daniels as a rookie looks great because he's a great OC. He's a play caller. He can't be the head coach because his teams are always weak. Maybe some of that going on with Lane Kiffin. Maybe Lane Kiffin's teams are never going to be tough enough to get over that hump mentally and physically. So I think there's that part of it too. There's a lot that goes into it. And then could it be some of the Marcus Freeman thing? Where and it's a little bit different to where Brian Kelly took another job and under the scenario we're talking about here, if you had to let go of Hugh, but you keep everybody on your roster. You don't want to lose all these studs. You've invested all this money, NIL money in the past 3 or 4 years. You keep all those guys. If you just bring in the guy they are, I bet if under the scenario Auburn goes 6-6, 7-5 this year, and Hugh Freeze gets fired, and then you promote DJ Durkin, I think you keep majority of the offensive guys.
Yeah.
Or it definitely helps you. You probably keep all the defensive guys, or if not most of them, the ones that will leave are going to leave anyway type thing.
Yeah.
And then I bet you keep a lot of offensive guys intact too under that scenario. And that's important because, like I said earlier, Auburn's dropped bags, man. Like Auburn has dropped bags.
No doubt.
Freeze great at recruiting and all that kind of stuff. Yes. But make no mistake about it, like money's played a part in Auburn having these recruiting classes. So there's an investment there, and at the end of the day, I just think it goes back to all the decision makers being extremely impressed with everything DJ Durkin does. It's not just on the field, guys, because look at Ron Roberts. The numbers aren't that different from DJ Durkin's defense and Ron Roberts. One reason we're so impressed with DJ is because the weapons were different.
Yeah,
Ron Roberts an elite arsenal. But he had a lot of veteran guys, the Simps and all those guys back there. He had a lot of vets to help him out. DJ was, like you said, he had a litter full of puppies. And we watched him grow into dogs throughout the season and him still put together a top 31 defense. And then on top of that, Ron Roberts and DJ Durkin on a Tuesday, from what I hear, a lot different, right? Like a lot different, a lot easier to get along with DJ, and things are running a lot smoother there. Everyone's tapped in, everyone's involved, everyone's having a good time, everyone's loose, and that's the thing too, man. That's the thing too, Blake. Loose. I don't think our defense plays nervous football.
No,
they don't do the Our offense, oh buddy. They get 2 or 3 first downs, and they're on the 17-yard line, and they got to score. They don't look like that, bro. And that starts at the top. And somebody's going to screenshot me making that face and post it. But bro, that's the way I feel watching our offense. They just running around trying to figure it out. And on defense, it's not that way. So that's just a testament to the organization and to the attitude and the belief, man. We talk about this with players all the time, man. Me and you always say, at some point, if you're in your 3rd or 4th year being a leader and you got 7 catches on your career, no one really cares what you have to say. You can say all the right stuff, but in the 3rd quarter of a 17-17 game, you ain't making a play, so I don't want to hear from you. I don't really care, right? But with DJ, it's like, oh, there's proof of concept. So what you're teaching me, what you're showing me, the way you're leading me, I want to listen because I see the production. Because I know if I do it, then I can produce. And then as you keep a guy, Auburn hasn't had this luxury with defensive coordinators the last 5-6 years. But if you keep a guy's system for more than 1 year and the same players stay in that system, what can Keldrick Falk say to a guy now? Hey man, to a Jordan Crawford. I played for DJ last year. I'm telling you, just do what he says. And by the end, what can Malik Blockton tell him? I was a freshman just like you under DJ last year. And I did what DJ said, and look what happened. Freshman all SEC team, freshman all American. So it was a really great day for Auburn, man. I was really, really excited to see this. I hope that we don't have to go down that path of him being the next coach and all that. It's best for Auburn if he balls out, gets a job elsewhere, and our program keeps running smooth. But you definitely, everyone they didn't even say the coach in waiting thing. That just becomes an official thing. But like that's usually for older head coaches. But it just felt that way. We all just kind of feel like, hey, if this goes south, then he's going to get the bump and it'll be him. So it's very, very smart move for Auburn, man. Auburn, the way we've behaved, Blake, these last 3 or 4 years behind the scenes, I think we've been pretty well. Maybe a little bit less than 3 or 4 years, but since Harsin, I think that the school and the administration, I think they really, really cleaned a lot of BS up. And they all kind of do seem to be moving, and all the moves they make, I'm like, I see you.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, the Joel Klatt Show, and it reminded me so much of the situation that we're in right now. And obviously, y'all, Ohio State just won the national championship, so their head coach was probably the most criticized guy in college football the past 3-4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
He was always under scrutiny. He was, fired. They're losing to Michigan now after Urban come in and he got the ball rolling and he handed Ryan Day the Lamborghini and Ryan ran it off the side of the mountain, right? Michigan wins the national championship last year. This year, they lose to Michigan again, and they were double-digit favorites and all this stuff, and they're not going to the Big Ten championship game and all that stuff, right? So Joel asked Ryan Day, he said, man, you gave up play calling duties. Why did you do this? And how did you react and how did you maneuver your everyday meetings, your jobs, your whatever with your other coaches that you guys do? He was like, how did you handle that? And Ryan said, man, I took a step back. He was like, I gave play calling duties up and it allowed me to be more open with the team. He was like, I got to spend more time with the defense, the special teams, the offense. He was like, I got time to sit in meetings. He was like, I let my OC do his job. And I was around the program more. And he was like, did it hurt me to not call plays? He was like, abso-freaking-lutely it hurt me. He was like, but I knew something needed to change. Now, he did hire one of the greatest play callers in college football history with Chip Kelly, right? So that helped a little bit. But he made a change, right? And we know Ryan Day, that's why he was hired, because he was a great offensive mind. And he was under Urban Meyer and all that. So, but it wasn't working at Ohio State. It wasn't working. So he gave those duties up. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, it just kind of sounds like what's going on with you is like the same thing. We're just a mess on offense. Do we need to go hire a legitimate offensive coordinator? And does Hugh need to take a step back and be the head coach? That's what Ryan said. Hey, I just needed to be the head coach. I didn't need to be the offensive coordinator and the head coach. I just needed to be the head coach. And he did that. So the whole time I'm sitting there at work and I'm like, man, like dude's making a whole lot of sense, right? Like he's putting it all out there of why they won the national championship. Yeah, you can hit me with the $20 million roster and all that. They lost 2 games. All right. and they beat the piss out of everybody they played in the college football playoff. They were clear and far the best team in the country. He made a change that he was uncomfortable with, but it was for the better. Does our head coach need to do the same? I hear all the talk of, well, Derek Nix is the offensive coordinator. Y'all,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, Hugh Freeze is calling those plays. All right. The I got a guy who draws up third down and all that. Y'all, come on now. Look, I'm a Hugh guy. I hope he turns this thing around and we soar to new heights, right? But when I listened to that podcast, I was like, that's Auburn. That's Auburn to a T. That is Auburn. Make a change, like Ryan Day had to make a change. It was either that or you were going to keep calling plays and you were going to ride out and you were going to lose your job. You were going to lose your job because you couldn't make a change. You couldn't be different for one season. And it happened, man. And look at them. They hoisted the trophy. They were great. They clicked at the right time. Do I agree with the playoff system? No. But that's how it goes, and that's the world we live in today, and they won the national championship. And it just brought so many thoughts to me about the current situation Auburn's in. Is defense is great, and offense is a mess, and something's got to change.
Yeah.
So tired of going 5-7.
Yeah, me too, buddy. It's a long way. It's a long way to the Baylor game, man. It is a long way, and it's tough. I'm gonna get to some of you guys' comments before we do get out of here. Thank all y'all for tuning in. Check your phone, Blake. Brett sent me a screenshot. Brett already got it.
You've already been put on. You've already been put on candid camera.
Brad says, wasn't expecting to see y'all on a Wednesday. Yeah, man. The basketball game tip off at 6 yesterday. So anytime there's a basketball game on Tuesday, if it starts at 8, we can go live, obviously, on our normal time. But if it starts at 6, we're not going to go live in the middle of the basketball game because I was busy yelling at our interior defense up until about 10 minutes ago yesterday. Anthony says, I know we're talking football, but what about Fisher, Blake, taking the mound, I think, Friday? Is that official?
Yeah, it's official. Auburn dropped their rotation Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Cade Fisher is the transfer from the University of Florida. This is a big-time get, y'all. I know there was some struggles at Florida and things like that. But, hey, look, Derek Fabian had struggles at Florida, right? He had some injuries. He had some setbacks. He was a starter at Florida. Those things happened. He transfers to Auburn. He had a great year last year. I know it didn't show up in the win column, but Derek showed out for Auburn baseball last year. So hopefully Cade Fisher can show out on the bump Friday. We're going to learn a whole lot more about this baseball team when they head to Dallas in a couple weeks because you got Ohio State Friday, which we should beat Ohio State.
Where's this at?
What?
This weekend. Where's this being played
It's
at?
in Auburn.
Okay.
They play Holy Cross, right? I'm pretty sure they play Holy Cross. And then that Saturday, you play Oregon State, I believe. And that's going to be the one to watch. Like, that's going to tell us where we sit as a baseball team this year. And then I think the Sunday game, you got Baylor. So that I don't know how Baylor, they're usually not a great baseball program. I don't know what they're doing now. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, what you want to see this weekend is there might be a little slow start offensively because it's first game of the season, right? First series of the season. So Auburn might come out and put up 12, 13, 14 runs because the offense is going to be very powerful. But if you see some slow swings and some swings that are dragging a little bit and Auburn doesn't, pop the scoreboard and all that stuff, there's a reason, man. It's the first series of the year, but hopefully they take care of business, and it's going to be exciting. Like, this Auburn lineup has pop all throughout. I think, me personally, I think this from top to bottom is one of Butch's most talented lineups. And I'm not worried about offense for Auburn. I'm worried about the defense and the pitching because last year this team was snake bit. Shout out to my boy Graham. And when we talk about snake bit, we talk about not being able to get out of innings. And was it the pitching? Yes, but there was other things that went into that as well, right? Like there would be errors in the middle infield and things like that. Like first base, we had some time because we were rotating people in because Coop had an injury and we were having to put Ike and all that stuff. There was just a lot of moving pieces on that Auburn team last year. So hopefully we don't run into that this year. It's still a very hard conference. And I got into a little, I don't want to call it an argument or whatever. I got into a little conversation with somebody on Twitter who said that they do not believe in Butch Thompson to turn this baseball program around. And to that, I say that is the most crazy statement that I have ever heard talking Auburn baseball, man. This dude has taken us to 2 College World Series appearances. And we have played the likes of Louisville, Mississippi State, Stanford, Arkansas, in Omaha, Nebraska. And you're going to tell me that Butch Thompson can't turn this thing around. We have went to Corvallis, Oregon, and dogpiled on Oregon State's baseball field. And you're going to tell me that Butch can't turn it around. I think you're wrong. I think he's a hell of a coach. The state of Alabama is behind, and we got to get some people in office who can put us forward and get us up to the level of these other schools in the SEC who get to fork out money for scholarships and things like that because they have a lottery. And the state of Alabama still to this day refuses to move forward in time, and they want to take 50 years and go backwards. So that's my little argument with baseball, man.
No, I'm with you. We got to get that figured out.
Yeah.
And y'all stay locked in. We'll have plenty of baseball content throughout the year. I am looking forward, once it warms up a little bit here in March, to getting up there the majority of the weekends and covering the team and doing all that. And Blake's gonna be dropping on all kinds of cool baseball content for you guys. And I don't know anybody in my life that knows baseball better than Blake, so you guys definitely tap in. Hugh says, trying to listen to these boys. They got great points. Hey, Hugh, we thank you for being here, man. We thank you for tapping in. This is slow season for the podcast, right? People kind of go away a little bit. They'll come back during A-Day and all that kind of stuff. They'll go away a little bit. They'll come back about July. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you guys that are here for us. You diehards that rock with us year round. Daniel says we created 4 turnovers against Bama.
Yep.
Think about that. And still scored 14 points. Hey, Daniel, halfback passes are stupid, and that's where I'll leave that. Defense played fine. And every other game that Bama turned the ball over multiple times in, they lost them. We were the only team that didn't beat bad Jalen Hurts. We're the only Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. I apologize for even comparing that dude to you. Jalen Milroe. We were the only team that did not beat bad Jalen Monroe. We were the only team that got beat by that version of Jalen Monroe. So, yeah, man, you got to score some freaking points no matter how good the defense is.
Go back and watch the Michigan game, their bowl game, right? Michigan created turnovers early. What did Michigan do? They didn't panic. Oh, they took 3. They took 3 again. They said, hey, we're going to take the points, and we're going to force Jalen Milroe to beat us. Now, Auburn had the opportunity to take points early. We didn't have a field goal kicker. That was a whole disaster. I don't know. That was tough to watch last year. But Michigan didn't panic when they couldn't get into the end zone. There wasn't no trickery. There wasn't no trick plays or anything. It was, hey, man, we're running zone right at you. It's third and 10. Guess what? We're going to still run the ball, and we're going to line up and kick a field goal. Yeah. And we're just going to play smash mouth football for 4 quarters in the rain. And when it stops raining, we're just going to continue to run the football. And they did that. And so, we gotta figure out the whole trick play. I know we were joking about it before we hit record, and it was something to watch.
I hate them. My Buccaneers try to get cute in the playoffs, do a little direct snap to a wide receiver as he's coming across on a jet motion, fumble the ball, lose the game. Just run the plays. Just moving the football, man. 2 or 3 first downs on that drive. Ran that, ball game over. Just run the plays. That are working. Daniel says, I hope it doesn't happen with Harsin at Cal. I'm not sure exactly what you're, this was earlier in the conversation. I forget what we were talking about. But I'll say this, Daniel. I'll say this, and I mean this with everything inside of me. I hate the Cal Golden Bears. I hate
Yeah.
the Cal Golden Bears with everything in my heart. And it has nothing to do with them beating us last year. It has everything to do with their fan base. I think our longtime fans kind of know. Um, they're soft. They're soft. Love you, Thomas Dunn. Love you. Like,
Yeah.
but they're soft. They're soft. They're clownish. They think they're smarter than everybody, and they're not. They hide behind burners, and they're just yeah. I hate them. I hate them with everything inside of me, buddy. And I hate Brian Harsin, the football coach.
I
I
hate the
don't know
whole
my,
state.
well, yeah, just for sure. I am pulling for this to crash and burn. Absolutely. I want this to be so bad, bro. I want this to be so bad over there. And I don't even care about the little pun I just made. I want it to be, I called it, but I don't really
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I don't care, bro. I hope it all sucks over there. Okay. I can't stand them. I can't stand the Cal Golden Bears. I can't stand Brian Harsin. You guys suck. He sucks. And I hope it's shit. I hope I was very, very clear on that. I hope it's trash, dude. I hope it's 0-12 trash. I can tell you what they're not going to do. They're not going to recruit anything above a 2-star. They will not do that.
Yeah, they're academic school.
Yeah.
That's all they care about.
Yeah, they are. And good luck, because that's the most sensitive bunch of sissies over there. Good luck. Good luck with that guy as your head coach, because he's going to say something about his beliefs that I don't have a problem with. I'm talking about, I don't like Harsin the coach, but they are going to have a problem because it doesn't get any softer than the kind of people that attend Cal Berkeley. Hate them. Auburn Dad says, I think Durkin deserves it. Besides stuffing national champ in a locker, it's awesome, and he could be our coach if things go south this year. Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. And Anthony says, don't sleep on Bryce Dees. He's turning heads also.
Yep.
He is an absolute beast. Yeah, man. Hearing good things about Bryce. Hearing good things about a lot of the young cats that stepped onto the workout field there and have been putting up some crazy numbers and all that kind of stuff. So really, really excited about it. Actually, tomorrow when I get off work, I'm going to do a little intel pod for our members on some recruiting stuff, on some stuff about that's been going on at the workouts, kind of what guys are showing out that have just shown up to campus and all that. Sounds like Deuce Nice spinning that thing. Surprise, surprise. So, yeah, man, lots to talk about. I'll get in here tomorrow. As long as my house doesn't blow away, dude, it's a good, like,
Yeah, bro.
it's crazy. It's crazy out there right now. If I survive the night, I'll drop this member pod for you guys.
Yeah, there's like tornadoes in Clark County and everything, so it's bad. It's right up north from Mobile, man.
Yeah. Karen says, I hope I did. I hope I didn't leave any stone unturned there, bro. And it didn't have it. Karen, I never hated Cal. Had no problem with him. But things change. I will be hate watching. I will be staying up late and hate watching because I watched more Cal football this year than I ever have in my life, and it was solely off of hate. I was pulling for y'all to lose. I wanted to be right, and I was. So smash that thumbs up button, sub to the channel if you have not, man. Appreciate y'all that have shared this out on social media. If you haven't, please do that, and we will be back later in the week because baseball's starting up.
Yes, sir.
Spring practice ain't too far away. Oh, and by the way, number 1, number 2, Iron Bowl showdown on the hardwood this weekend. So we're not done pumping out the Auburn content for you guys this week. Man, that's all I got tonight, Blake. You got anything else for us, brother?
War Damn Eagle, baseball season is upon us, and Saturday is going to be an absolute freaking war. Get ready. Let's go beat their ass in Tuscaloosa. Give it to them. I'm tired of hearing on Twitter that Auburn's just going to lose. All right, that ain't how we're going about it. It's not. Stop. Well, we're going to lose Saturday. We're playing like trash. Janai's hurt. Stop. That's little brother syndrome. All right. That's what little bro does. And you're acting like it. That's what they call you. And you're already preparing. Well, we're going to lose. It's just we didn't play well against Vandy. You won. You won by double digits. Shut up.
Tournament team on the road.
Yes. And you've had trouble playing there before. Stop. It's insane, man. That some of our fans can be super toxic. can be super, super toxic. Dial it back a little bit. You won on the road in the SEC, the best conference in America, in a place that you've struggled in multiple times. Stop. Go win a damn game Saturday, and if you lose a close one, get back in the grind. You still got a chance for the regular season title, and you still got a chance to be the number 1 seed. So stop. Let's go. Get ready, man. This is gonna be something that we've never seen before. Take it all in. Enjoy this team. Stop crying when we lose a lead and we go down by 4 and the world's coming to an end. Stop, man. Enjoy it. War damn Eagle. I'm out.
I hear you, Devin. Devin says all Auburn fans I've seen think we're going to lose. Hey, I echo Blake. I got the Tigers in the way that I think Florida is just a bad matchup for Auburn. Like, I think if we play Florida again, it's going to be a problem. I'm not saying we'll lose, but it's a bad matchup. I think Auburn can present some problems, matchup problems for Bama. I'm taking my damn Tigers, man. I think Auburn wins. And then when it comes back to Neville, I think Auburn wins. I'm not one of them, Devin. I'm saying it's time to get the broom out and get that revenge. So we'll see you guys later in the week, man. Thumbs up button on the way out. It's War Damn Eagle till they put me in the dirt, baby. Love y'all.
War Damn.